Okay, so hello everyone. I'm the Team 3 presenter from Indong today, and today our topic was wave power shape. So this is the content that I'd like to introduce today. First, I'll talk about what we introduced in the first presentation, but subsequent points such as what type of wave energy converter uses, and which job each of our team members versus what the time and goal for each presentation. And next, the reason that we choose one specific wave energy converter for a ship. And lastly, designing procedure for a little bit of complicated mathematical modeling and give a schematic view of which parameters we need to consider when it comes to designing wave power ship. So let's move on to review of first presentation. The type of wave energy converter systems can be classified through operational principles. So OWC change the level of water due to waves inside a chamber to move the air to activate turbine. Archimedes effect literally uses the change of buoyancy to a wave. And buoyant body with a fixed reference or a mobile reference utilize relative movement between the two parts of the device. And overtopping uses the wave passing over the freeboard and make the turbine rotate. And the last one is impact, which literally uses the impact caused by a wave movement. So next, job allocation part. So my job is to design wave energy converter for a ship, and next presenter will estimate feasibility at the third presentation. And these are the goals that we set at the beginning. So I was allocated to set the application, design the WEC systems, and present the midterm results. Now let's move on to choosing a proper wave energy converter for a ship. As you can see from the table, in terms of energy efficiency, pressure differential shows the highest energy efficiency, followed by oscillating water column and overtopping. However, when we look through power production and cost analysis, wave dragon, which belongs to one of the kinds of overtopping methods, shows a great deal of power production. On top of that, it has low energy generation cost compared to the other methods. Therefore, we choose overtopping as a wave energy converter for a ship. So these are the specific reasons that we choose why we choose overtopping as a basic model for a ship. First, even if energy efficiency is low, like it shows 17% in the table, it typically generates great amount of power. And it's easy to install in the vessel without the complicated architecture and cost effective. Third, it can generate power regardless of vessel location. And the last, even though energy supply is not continuous, it can still burn because of the existence of reservoir. So this is the designing wave power ship part with a little bit of mathematical modeling. This figure is the schematic view of the proposed overtopping system in the vessel. So I'm gonna explain some terminology descriptions that used written in this figure. V is vessel velocity, and U is wave velocity. And V sub in is wave velocity relative to the vessel, and V out is flow velocity flowing out of the vessel. A in is inlet area, and A out is outlet area. And Z in is the height from the maximum surface of the wave. And HT is time-dependent height from the surface of the wave to the reservoir. And H minimum is the minimum height for the outlet volcanoes. This is actually for the reservoir to flow out to produce energy effectively. So hydrostatic pressure is defined as this formula. So when we apply Bernoulli equation, we can get flow velocity as below. And the time rate change of the reservoir is as below. When H is smaller than 0, it means water comes in due to the wave movement with the velocity of v plus u, and goes when h is higher than h minimum that we said before. Next, power production by flow is defined as below. And if we substitute pressure and velocity terms in preferable, it becomes like this formula. Assume the height from the sea surface from the surface to inlet follows normal distribution. Technically, probability density function, which is called PDF, is given as below. And as we know, if we can get probability when we integrate PDF over possible value regions. Then inflow probability becomes the function of Z in and standard deviation of the relative height. And outflow probability becomes the function of Z in and standard deviation of relative height and H minimum. So the time average rate change of reservoir is calculated with the expectation value of inflow and outflow volumetric rates. When reservoir increases, which means ER over DT is positive, generate power is like this. However, when reservoir decreases, there should be a constraint adjusting the area of outflow that ER over DT equals 0. Since the amount of reservoir cannot go below 0. So we can substitute AL term in the whole formula into the adjusted outflow area. And then we can get this formula. Lastly, we can deduce power production by overtopping model as right here, depending on whether the reservoir increases or decreases. When we substitute probability terms with functions that we get before, we can get these relations. So for the time average mean power production is the function of mu, v, z in, standard deviation relative height, a in, a out, and h minimum. Among them, C-state parameters, which is not controllable, is u and sigma relative. And the controllable parameters, which we need to consider when we design chip, is V, A in, A out, Z in, and H minimum. This is the conclusion part. Of course, it was nearly impossible to plot this hypersurface since it was multidimensional function. But we can find optimal parameters that can generate the best mean power by either grid algorithm or non-dimensional analysis. And also, we choose overtopping device for a wave power shift considering cost, the amount of energy production, grid locations, and the difficulty of installation. This is the reference. And this is the end of the presentation. And thank you for listening.
All right, thank you. Any question from the other team members?
To generate power near to general nuclear power plant about 10,000 8,000 kilowatt megawatt. How much expansion is it if the complex?
Actually, like as I wrote down here, it was actually difficult to calculate these parameters, the function, actually code function, and the like how much energy we can produce with some certain parameters because it's multi-dimensional function. So that's why I skipped the explanation about the functions. So as you can see, it was difficult to get a like how these values will change depending on the variation of these problems.
Any other? from student side? No, then we move on to TA.
Which kind of ship is the best one to apply that kind of techniques?
Yeah, it's ideal looking thing. We're gonna look into like at the next presentation.
At the final presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Since we assume just like basic, the structure of the vessel. That's it. Is it?
Okay.
Question? Question? The figure. Yeah. That one. The V is the ship scale. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm just wondering if the converter has an impact on the original ship speed or not? Does it influence any impact on the ship speed, original ship speed? I'm just afraid if a ship has an energy converter, then the ship speed may be slightly decrease.
You are asking that because of the somehow, like because of this application, the ship,
Yeah.
the speed of the velocity of ship can be changed.
I'm not sure, but what do you think about?
What I believe is that the size of the turbine used here compared to the vessel is relatively small. So I don't think it would change my, it wouldn't affect that much.
Right, then my question and comment. From this picture, you need to think about water flowing in reverse way.
Yeah.
When the wave height at outlet side is higher than the opening,
Yeah.
then water can be flow reverse way. So then, I don't know, you can generate energy at that time also, but you need to think about this kind of situation. Second one is you need to have a wider opening and as big as possible to get more water topping over topping. Wider opening. In this picture, the opening is too small for me. You need to think about this kind of idea. The third one is the power balance between power generation and power consumption by the ship or requirement some. And I expect you cannot meet the requirement by the wave energy or overtopping energy.
Yeah.
Because it's too small power production. Then you need additional power to propel the ship. So it can be a hybrid type of energy source. But anyway, you need to calculate the balance between power requirement to push the ship, propel the ship, and the energy obtained from the wave energy.
Yeah.
Obtained. So balance should be done. All right, thank you very much. We can move on to team 4.
Hello, my name is Andrew, and this is the second visitation. Our the topic is the power of the context of this has borrowed the first part is background of the power question. It is the beginning of the first visitation and the background, the fourth and the last is myself. The background of power question. Due to the publication about the marine plastic pollution, due to population growth, the amount of waste, especially plastic waste, is increasing by year by year. As a result, a huge amount of garbage was dumped into the ocean. As you can see from the picture on the right side. Wind power is a clean and renewable energy source, and it is one of the fastest growing energy source in the world. As time goes by, the number of ocean wind power plants will increase year by year. As offshore wind turbine, the turbine has less impact on the people and landscape. But as the number of wind power plants and ocean wind power plants increases, the marine animals will be more exposed to the artificial sound. So vibration of the wind turbine can affect to the marine animals. Then what is bubble curtain? Bubble curtain, as you can see in the two pictures, the bubble curtain is a system that produces bubbles and elaborate arrangement in the water. So these rising bubbles act as a barrier or curtain for the propagation of wave and prevent the spreading of factors and other contaminants. When is the bubble curtain used? These pictures are used. These pictures are some kind of used of a bubble curtain. Underwater construction or preventing oil spilling and offshore wind turbine, preventing the vibration of the offshore wind turbine. Now I introduce the bubble generation. Bubble generation is generation of bubble is like this. Air bubble curtain is created by releasing compressed air from a submerged perforated tubing. If you have seen into the aquarium, you will know that air bubble curtain is created by released compressed air from a submerged tubing. The arrangement of bubble generation and the air bubble curtain is like this. Because as the offshore wind power plant is placed in the ocean, the heating of wind turbine produces the vibration of water, and it produces very large sound, and the sound wave is produced like little picture. So to prevent the sound wave proportion to the proportion, we can remake the circular arrangement like the right side picture. The circular arrangement is a perfect picture that you can notice. The size of bubble, there is a proper size of bubble that is proper to prevent the sound wave proportion. A subsequent size air bubble is optimal for reducing noise. And also the number of curtains is quite important factor. Just the single big bubble curtain is not quite enough good to prevent the proportion of Southwick, rather than double beer and double or more than two, more than one bubble cotton, can do much more effective, effective draw. What about the structural property of bubble cotton? We researched about the two materials that are used for album cotton. The first is the simple weighted pipe. The advantages of simple weighted pipe is resistant to twisting and carry original shape, and resistant to ultraviolet chemicals and thirdly, pH and temperature variation, and adjust weight and cheaper. And the other material is reinforced weighted type. The advantages of reinforced weighted type is resistance to ultraviolet rays, chemicals, uncertainty, temperature, and temperature. Very similar to the first one. And the thick wall of course helps prevent controlling, stretching, thinking, and waiting the host keep it on the bottom. Another important factor of structural stability is the size of the host. As you can see, as size, the first these are the two materials that I introduced before slide, and as you can see, from side to side, the maximum pressure that it can hold are different. According to this diagram, this diagram, 10 millimeter round, 10 millimeter radius for the simple weighted pipe is the most proper thing, and for reinforced weighted pipe, also it is the most proper size is 10. Size of radius is 10 millimeter. The fourth part is energy and price needed to operate as this. I searched about the Great Bubble Barrier, which is in Netherlands, Amsterdam. It is a company that install the album cut in the waterway. As you know, Netherlands is very famous for many waterways in their country. So this company installed a lot of bubble barriers in the waterway in Netherlands. The left picture is Amsterdam, and the right picture is Katwijk. Energy to operate a 10-meter bubble cutter is about precisely 4.17 kilowatts to operate. It is almost the same with the one electric street car used in Amsterdam. A big problem is that the prices for the bubble cutter is quite expensive. The 10-meter bubble cutter installing price is 350 euro. It is almost $400,000. However, it is because it is the company that try to earn money. So I think if the price is quite smaller than this, this would be quite reasonable price to collect more than 90% of garbage that is in the waterway or river. The future plan. So this is the part of the first presentation, and this is our part and this part. And the last part will be like this, the present. Present the useful of a first person in specialized in Korea. This is reference for the presentation. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I have a quick question about the price.
Right, yeah.
Is it that expensive because there is like only one company that does this kind of system, or it is because of the technology that it is expensive?
Oh, yes, I also have a question with you. However, I cannot find, I couldn't find the company that is like this. The company website that is like, so I think 350 euro is too expensive. So I think, however, in my opinion, if we do not, try to earn too much money, then the price will be increased. Maybe.
So, so this is an example for like a small tunnel, right? That's only 20 meters. But the main goal is it not to produce rubber coating in like wide ocean area where there's a lot of traffic. So do you think like, because 20 meters is already 350 meters, do you think that it is feasible in like greater area?
Of course, the only 10 meter is not just for the port. It is not for just the port. Air compressor, generator, everything is composed. This is for 350. So if we expand 10 meters to 200 meters, it should be 3,150.
All right, any other question? No, then okay.
There's that is the real there's an example to apply these techniques in the real world, right?
Yeah.
So how deep is that ocean? How deep we place the pipe for the air curtain in the real example?
Water depth.
Not very deep. However, almost every because this is the waterway in that is very small, less than 5 meters, maybe.
Less than 5 meters.
Yeah. However, the post can hold more than 100 tons, I heard. So it is quite strong. So the wind turbine vibrating preventing is not we don't care. We don't need to care about the wind so that because we can hold more than 50 meters in the cycle of the company.
Okay. Remote. Okay. We have more?
괜찮습니다.
네. Okay.
Basically, your idea is very good for sleeping in underwater animals. In the warships, sometimes the system is introduced to reduce the underwater diving noise and reduce the friction gap. So I'd like to ask you, according to the frequency, the distance of the acoustic signal is very long or short. So I think it would be better to evaluate how effect of the reduction rate according to the frequency of the noise maker. All the
실제로 뭐라고 댓글
그 노이즈 메이커가 프리퀀시에 따라서 멀리 가고 저쪽 갈 거예요. 근데 이 에어 커튼이 그거를 효과가 그 차이가 나더라고요. 숏 프리퀀시는 효과가 좋다든지 그거에 대해서 해야 어디에 효과가 있을지 않나.
다시
그런 건 좀 해놓은 거 있어요.
나디야.
Right. My comment is similar to Professor Na's one. So the sound frequency, low frequency or high frequency, they have a different characteristic for travel. Usually we know that low frequency sound goes far away. Short frequency, high frequency goes short distance. But my question, or you can think about or study more, the bubble size may be effective depending on also depending on the frequency. So you may find out the bigger is it better or smaller is better. Small and many, right? Big bubble, few big bubble, or small many bubble. Which one is more effective? You may find out this. Also, the sound travel inside water is different from sound travel inside the air. Big difference because of the density is much different. So you need to think of those kind of situations. One more question is this use case in Netherlands. They are using this air bubble curtain to protect environment, to collect damages.
We as our team we presented in the first presentation. There are two kinds of uses in podcast. One is preventing the vibration and sound, and the second is preventing the gravity.
Alright.
And they use for the second.
You may try to choose one of them to make more deeper into the study. You have two objectives, it's not good because you don't have enough time, right? Only one. More. All right, thank you very much. And we move on to invite.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Stanislas Goulet, and I'm gonna make the presentation about the floating wind farm project. So a quick reminder. So last time we introduced the problem of energy transition in South Korea. They want to find more sustainable energy.
we present a bunch of solutions, and then we decided to design a floating wind farm of 80 megawatt, which is the energy we have to power a city of 30,000 households. So today, what we're gonna see, we are gonna see the location selection, where we want to implement this wind farm. And secondly, and after we are gonna see our floating benchmark, so we are gonna select which kind of floater and the shape of the blade. So for the location, so there's multiple criteria we take into account. We take environmental criteria, commercial routes. We will try to be away from commercial route. Wind profile, we look at the wind map to be where there is more wind. Policies and politics, so maybe we'll find reason that some area will choose to do the wind farm. And the sea depth, because since it's a floating wind turbine, the water needs to be deep enough to put the wind farm. So we will see all these criteria through the scope of regulation and data statistics. So for the environmental aspect, so we saw in the guideline for environmental assessment of offshore wind power generation, but Korea is in the flyway of birds, so some birds migrate from Australia to Northwest Asia, and so pass through South Korea, and so there can be interference with the wind turbine. They can hit the blade, so it's bad for the bird, but it's also bad for wind turbine because it can damage it. And according to this map, they go through the west side of South Korea. So it will be an area we will exclude for the implement of the regarding politics and policy. So currently, South Korea and North Korea are involved. Common sense, but it's obviously not a good idea to our nation. So we want to avoid this area. And also another reason is because a wind turbine can interfere with radar. We don't want to put it close to radar, and so we can assume safety, but there's a lot of military radar around this area. So we exclude the northern part of South Korea. Regarding the distance, so we saw multiple regulations regarding the distance. So the first one I want to talk to you about is 1 kilometer away from the shore. So a wind farm should be 1 kilometer away from the shore. This graph shows a benchmark of a wind farm in the UK. So here on the y-axis is the kilometer away from the shore. So we can see like a lot of wind farms in the UK are around 50 kilometers away from the shore, and you can go up to 100 kilometers. And this graph is a regulation about the wind turbine. So when we have two wind turbines, has to follow some spacing regulation. So in the direction of the wind, it has to be from 6 to 10 diameter of the wind turbine away. And 30 meters to the wind, it has to be 3 to 5 times the diameter away from each two wind turbine. So that means a wind farm will be really spacious. And since a wind farm should be 6 times the length by perpendicular of the largest boat plus a kilometer, we really need to be careful about the commercial route and to be very far away from it. So this is the ship route. So on this map, you can see that around Busan, Incheon, and also here, it's really busy. So we want to be away from this route. So we select two areas, like at the west side, here and here, and that's great because the criteria we saw before, we have to avoid the west side and also the north part. So this area are okay. And this is the wind map. So in the wind map, on the left, we have the wind power density at 100 meter height, and here the wind speed at 100 meter height. So like the best area to where the wind is more powerful and more speed is like an area on the west and the area around Jeju. But yes, so as we with the criteria we saw earlier, will most likely prefer this area on the west side. And now if you look at how deep is the sea, this only the area on the west side of Korea, but the sea is deep enough to put our floating wind farm. It's more than 100 meters. And also one of the advantages on the west side of Korea, there is no tidal waves. So the level of the sea is always remaining constant. And so our final location we want is in front of Ulsan. Because so thanks to the criteria we saw before, this is where we choose to put it, and this is like the wind frequency, wind power, and wind speed. So we can see that the wind comes from most likely from the northwest and southwest. And this information we'll use it after to design the design of wind farm, the wind farm arrangement. And also, just a little note, if you look at the electrical grid, around Ulsan there is a power plant, so there is a major high voltage grid. So it's going to connect the wind farm. And so because it will decrease the risk of power overload. And also Ulsan and Pohang are major industries. So industry require a lot of energy. So it's good, for this reason, it's a good idea to implement the wind farm. So now we have the location. Now it's a quick reminder of how wind farm works. So there is kind of two parts, like the wind farm with all the wind turbine. But there is also a part of electricity transport. We have to transport the energy created by the wind farm to the power grid. And so the electricity go to underwater connection hub, intermediary clearing station, and electrical grid. And we just wanted to remind you that we will only study the wind farm and will not design this part, but it should be designed. And concerning the wind turbine, so there is a different element of the wind turbine. There is the rotor blade, the gearbox, the nacelle, the generator, the power cables, the power, floater, and mooring lines. And for our study, we just want to tell you that we'll focus on the part circled in green. And now I will introduce you the rotor blade. So we have seen in the lecture that there is different type of rotor blades. But the most common one is the horizontal axe driven with three blades. And so that's obviously the one we will choose for wind farm, because for the distribution return is at the higher efficiency rating. The blade moves perpendicularly to the flow of wind, so energy is created your way to rotation. And it's most suitable for higher speed. And these are just prototypes, they are less efficient, and these are most likely to reduce the noise. And since we are in a wind farm in the sea, we don't really care about reducing the noise of our wind farm. For the floater, so there is a lot of floaters. We saw that there is more than 30 prototypes, but really 4 floaters stand out from the rest. There is a semi-submersible, which is a floater with a high stability. There is 3 cylinders. There is the Star, which is a huge cylinder with a low center of gravity, which is connecting to the seabed with mooring. All of them are connecting to the seabed with mooring. There is a tension leg, which has a high buoyancy, and so the mooring line are always in tension. And the bar, which is as you can see, a square with a hole in the middle, which is the most compact form. And these 4 floating system are already tested in European projects, like in Scotland. They use the semi-submersible. In Norway, France, Norway use the Star technique, and France use the barge. the tension leg and two semi-submersible. We can notice that the most likely used is the semi-submersible, but it's for like low power of wind farm, 50 megawatt, yeah, 30, 28. And for the biggest wind farm, it's 88 megawatt, and they use the spark technique. So maybe we'll go into this direction, but to choose carefully our water, we can do this weighted metric decision. So the criteria we choose is the simplicity, the stability, the cost, and the reliability. Why the simplicity? Because we want to design it really, so we want to make sure we can deliver a solution. The stability, because since we put the wind farm in an area where there is a lot of wind, it should be very stable. The cost, because we are in India, so it's always interesting to talk about the cost. And the reliability, the reliability criteria is more about how many times this solution has been tested and make it good. And so I want to say for all these criteria, since it's a lot of prototype, it was hard to find like real figures. So it will be more about common sense. For example, for the simplicity of the semi-submersible, we put a score of 2, because since there is a 3 cylinders, it will be more hard to design by, for example, the star one, which is only 1 cylinder. For the stability, we saw that in our Richter bracket, the semi-submersible is more stable. For the cost, we put a low score because since the cylinder is more difficult to make, so we assume that the cost will be higher. And for the reliability, as a friend equal many times, so it's the score of 5. And so with this matrix, we found at the end that the score, this one, the cylinder one, will be the one we want to use. So I will show you a little video.
You need to escape first and then copy the link. Copy and paste. At the browser, web browser. Right? Paste. Right.
Here you can see that it's very big. You can really see the size. Okay. And so now in this presentation, I show you we determine where to put our wind farm. We know which type of floater and which type of bed we choose. And so for next presentation, we will define the number of wind turbine for our farm. We'll focus on the dimension of the wind turbine. And as optional, we try to dimension the plot, the moving lines, and also to select and justify the orientation. Thank you for your attention.
All right, so question from members. No. Okay.
So how is the size? I mean, how many wind turbines will placed in the farm?
So as I said, we'll define the number of wind turbines at the next stop. But like knowing we want to produce, we set the goal to produce 18 megawatts farm. And I think like a wind turbine is around 1 or 2 megawatts.
I mean, all depends on the size of the diameter, right? So the goal is like to choose the right number, an economical number. So you have like maybe for this kind of wind farm that will produce 80 megawatts. It is like if you take the example of Norway, they need like 10 wind turbine of 15 megawatts each. So it's like quite big. So, but we still need to focus on the number and the size, so we have to dimension it with the wind speed and also the for each one.
Okay.
Questions? No. All right, looks like a good survey. So, the study is well done, but I cannot see any new ideas. We make a good study and survey. There are so many publications, so you probably get much knowledge from them. It's okay, it's good. But I hope you can add some new ideas, as a Brian and new brain, right? That is one comment. The other one is, as TA suggested, you already said that you want to provide power to 300,000 population city something, right? Yeah. But you need to calculate what is the power requirement of that population.
Yeah, we saw like figures, and usually a 40, like 80 megawatts can provide
80 megawatts?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah. 80 megawatts. It's
Can you show the screen slideshow? Okay, total requirements is 80 megawatt for city of 30,000 households. But question is it a 100% requirement or partial requirement? The 80 megawatt. How do you get this one?
we look at it were already made, and wind farm of 80 megawatts was able to sustain, like, provide energy for this city, for a city of 30,000 households.
Do you mean that 100% of power requirement can be met by this 80 megawatt? Is it right?
Yes,
What is the coverage of power requirement of the city? 100% or partial?
it was 100%.
100%, all right. Because I'm asking because wind is not blowing when we need the power. So you need some kind of device to meet the fluctuation of the power generation.
Okay.
Because of the wind is blowing sometimes, not blowing sometimes. Right? So usually, the wind power cannot provide the 100%.
It's not constant.
So usually they are targeting to cover some say 30% or 50% something. And also you need to have a big battery, or otherwise you need to store energy somewhere.
Yeah.
And then when wind is not blowing, you need to use that energy for the consumption because the requirement is anytime, right? So there should be a balance between requirement and providing generation. Go on. Thank you. Question.
As far as I know, Korean government and Ulsan city are collaboratively carrying out big wind farm at the place you recommended, that location, and using the spotlight, you also gave the best score on the graph, on the table. My question is, did your team already know this project, or did you Not know.
We didn't know,
You didn't know.
but like one of the members of the group, when we chose this location, he told us that,
There was in Jeju already.
yeah, there was already, we have visual location in Jeju.
Jeju Island.
Yeah, Jeju Island and then Busan, right? And that's because of the commercial growth of Jeju and also, just in the last number told us that Jeju Island has too many electricity production. Or half of Busan. But we didn't know that.
And
Yeah, one already bought.
if you guys did not know this project, then I think it is very good survey and conclusion for the location and
But like,
Hi.
it's already occurring.
Well, you already mentioned about grid.
Yeah.
Can I see the page of grid? Electrical grid. If we have a good cable between Jeju Island and main continent,
Yes.
then why not? We can use better wind there, right? And provide energy to the Seoul area or Busan area. But currently, the situation, the cabling between island, Jeju Island and main continent is not good, not strong enough, not big enough. That's why they are dotted line. But in the future, probably government have a plan to construct good cable between them. Because you said Jeju has surplus of energy. Why not transporting to Seoul? Anyway, good. Thank you. And you may move on to 51. please.
Right. Let me start with the presentation of the code. First of all, I will tell you about our research topic and goal. Reflecting feedback from the proposal to set specific goals, we choose the following topic. Reflecting feedback on offshore wave power station for 50 feet. This means wave energy converter supplying under 500 tons. For example, for very small islands, this approach may be early because there are not many inhabitants. And since offshore has fewer limitations on its location, it's easy to find many options. And the goal is same as proposal. Find an ideal location and design the wave energy converter. So in this midterm presentation, we analyzed the 3 types of wave energy converter and selected appropriate one type. This presentation will be done with following model. First, analysis of wave energy converters, modulating with column, point observer, attenuator. And next, comparison and selection of wave energy converter type. And the last, future plan for final presentation. In this slide, we analyzed oscillating water column. Oscillating water column devices are partially submerged outbound structures that form an air chamber with an opening underwater. As the waves rise and fall, the air trapped within the chamber compresses and expands, allowing the turbine to rotate and generate electricity. The oscillating water columns has characteristics like this. Very few moving parts and shoreline devices can only reliable maintain and using space. In this slide, I will show you the example of the oscillating water column with general information.
figure in the left slide shows the example of the oscillating water column for linked in Western Scotland. This is a typical example of the OWC. It has 3 chambers and single well turbines, West turbines, and with diameter 2.6 meters. Right figure shows the West turbine. West turbine is compared with principle of the airport. This OWC can produce weight of 250 kilowatts. Oscillating water column can produce 250 kilowatts in impact, and the efficiency is 6%. This means pneumatic energy to electricity. The right figure shows the relation between pneumatic power and electric power. The efficiency 20% means the electricity conversion ratio from brake power it seems somewhat low. And the size information is here 405 85 tons. Like this. The calculated cost of electricity is 0.11 per kilowatt hour. But construction cost is somewhat high. As far as we know, the quantified construction cost was not found. And next is for the point absorber. A point absorber or wave energy converter utilize the motion of the surface waves to generate electricity. Wave energy conversion process can be basically defined as the force or torque produced in the wave energy converter by an incident wave that produces relative motion between the server and reaction point. It has characteristics like that. High construction costs, small size, can supply energy in special conditions. The specification is POV diameter is 6 meters. Draught is 30. Water depth must be more than 50 meters. And rated power is 200 kilowatts. The performance is 250 kilowatt for each device. And this slide is for the cost of the point absorber. In this slide, as you can see, the right below figure shows the percentage of the costs. Installation and transmission and grid connection shows the more than half. The construction cost is very high, and the calculated cost of electricity is 0.8 to $1.2 per kilowatt hour. It is quite expensive to produce the electricity. And the third one is attenuator. The figures below show the attenuator for Pelamis. Attenuators are situated parallel to the front and direction of the wave. The motion of the device from the press and through of the wave exerts force on a turbine, then feeds energy into the grid. The principle of the attenuator is like this. Here are 3 modules between the bodies. In the module, there is a circuit with hydraulic arms like in this figure. The body fluctuates by the movement of the surface of the water, creating hydraulic pressure. The length is 120 meters and the diameter is 3.5. Each power module can produce 250 kilowatts. So each machine is rated to produce 750 kilowatts. The Pelamis was ideally moored in waters approximately 50 meters deep. It gives access to larger sphere waves, but avoids the cost of the longer submarine cable. One may be inactive against extreme weather. And this slide is for the general information of the generator. Generator can produce 750 kilowatts. It means 500 ohms can be supplied. Generator cost and operation and maintenance costs are shown. So the cost of electricity is 0.092 to 0.14 dollar per kilowatt hour. And this slide is for the summary of the wave energy converters. Calculating that for a column shoreline, 200 kilowatt and 50% efficiency at 1.11 CO. It is reliable and easy to maintain, but high contraction cost and have limitation of location. Current absorber is offshore, 250 kilowatts production and 1.0 CO. It is small size and can supply energy in scheduled regions, so high cost has high construction cost and high CO. And attenuator is offshore, 750 kilowatts and 35% efficiency. And most of electricity is from 0.12. It has advantage of electric grid to heat and can supply energy in scheduled regions. And it was very inactive against extreme weather and require frequent inspections. So we scored about the conditions. For the proposed offshore wave power station for 50 people, the attenuator have 7 points. So we choose the attenuator for the site. And the future work is here. We will find a single region to install the wave energy converter and choose dimensions of the structure. Then let's estimate efficiency and power. This is the end of the slide. Thank you for listening.
All right. Question from other student. No. Yeah.
On the very last figure, last slide figure, they say the red zone is showing the high wave energy, but I don't know the exact meaning of the arrow direction. I think it's kind of wave things or pressure or.
This figure is just for example, I will do about the rest presentation. So I don't know what the exact thing.
So you will show us these kind of graph about our, about the Korea, Sea of the Korea in the next presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. 500 homes is good. In terms of manageable size, you can handle. All right. But anyway, you need to have a total power requirement calculation. You have such a number here, okay?
Uh, in this slide, 750 kilowatts is enough to supply 500 homes, but it's not on exactly exact number, so I will survey from the number and show you the exact number of the results.
Sorry. Anyway, same as the question to team 5 that you need the energy storage system because when wave, wave is a little bit stable than wind power system. But anyway, wave is also going high and low sometimes, so you may need the storage system. So you need to calculate how big should be the energy storage system.
Yeah.
And then it also costs, right? Your economic analysis is very nice. So you may find out the total efficiency or total economy. And about the comparison table, the final one.
Yes.
You also had a rating there, numbers, credit. So you need to have a final total credit value.
Yes.
Because you said number 7, you choose estimate something, right?
줌에는 나오는데 여기에 안 나오는
Oh, total number is also somewhere there.
네, 줌에는 사이드에 나오는데 여기
3, 4, 7.
Anyway, then I can see it. But one more thing is that team 3 choose overtopping system.
Yes.
But it is not given here, right?
Yeah.
You think that overtopping system is not good. But team 3 saying, yeah, I think overtopping is good.
Yeah.
That's why I'm confusing. So next time you can include overtopping system as other low, so that you see that numbers there. Right?
Preparing about overcoming system.
Right? All right, then move on to final one.
Hello, my name is Franklin, today's presenter. From now on, I will start our presentation and topic is our influencing fund. In the process of moving, before start main topics of the presentation, I will quickly review the content of the proposal and for introduction of our topics. In the process of moving from one place to another, a situation in which there is no land and only water in the movement place is possible. In this case, there is some options, and the first one is building a bridge over the water, and the method of designing a tunnel and the ground to avoid the place where there is water. When constructing a bridge over the water, other existing buildings must be taken into account in the process, and in some cases, it may not be possible to build a bridge on the ground. If you build a bridge avoiding the presence of water, it will be under the pressure because the bridge has to be built in the water like this, and the length of the bridge will be long. When constructing a primary water plant, a bridge can be built of pure materials and less construction time compared to the building bridge on the ground like number 4, without constructing existing structures on the ground like number 1. The picture on the right is to show the contour of the submarine water plant, and as you can see, the biggest issue is that there is power inside the water anyway. Our project consists of three big steps. We divide
During the purpose, we suggest our topics of marine floating tunnels, and during preparing the written presentations, we will define the problem by doing simple modeling on this topic. And after the written presentations, we will conduct a simple experiment and conclusions based on this. In order to analyze the dynamics of the submarine floating tunnels, we conducted a simple modeling. We concluded that the simple modeling process is the problem was simplified by using simple models instead of real complex water tunnels. And based on this, we aim to understand the physical properties of the submarine water tunnel. From now on, I will start the modeling process of our topics. As you can see, the water tunnels can be modeled as simply. First section is circle. First, we consider the voltage that applies to the beam. The first one is gravitational force on the beam. It is represented to the mg. At this time, m means the mass of the beam, and g is the gravitational acceleration. The second term is the buoyancy force that due to the fluid immersed because the water is immersed in the fluid environment. Rho F means the density of the fluid, and it is the distance of water density, and V is the volume of the volume that is immersed in the water. The final term is the key force or key force in our topic. The fluid force, the direct force that is induced by the fluid force. And across the environment, the water can be a still fluid or a fluid velocity. And for fluid velocity, the magnitude of the emission is zero. There is a direct force, and it is decided by the direct coefficient and density of the fluid and scale of the fluid velocity and area of the. We think that the fluid force is the most common factors that determine the shape and the stability of the beam, and we focus it and analysis. The first slide, the slide that I presented, it can simplify it like this. The beam can be assumed that the simply supported models, and we assume that the fluid force is uniform and uniform. So we can consider fluid force as the uniform distributed one. As you can see, the force is applied to the beam. So the initial state of the beam will be a straight line. However, if acting on the fluid force, after it will be deformed like this, look like this. So the next step is to analyze the deformations and the bending of the beam for analysis. Our beam models can be explained like this. X equals 0 and x equals L means the simple supported point, and at this time L is the length of the beam. And as I explained earlier, the fluid force can be assumed that the uniforms of the distributed force Wx equals 2W0 and constant. By applying simple boundary conditions, the net force of the beam equals to 0. So the reaction force at each point R0 and RL is equal to 1 over 2W0L. Also, the simple supported point can release the moment. Therefore, the moment at x equals 0 and x equals 0. By applying simple trivial diagrams, you can calculate the coefficient force in terms of omega 0, L, and rotation of the beam. And by integrating these coefficient force and the minus sign, we can obtain the moment and the moment of the beam with the fluid force like this as a function of x and W0. Our object is a profile of the beam. So the next step is applying the boundary conditions and apply the moment function that I explained earlier. The moment function is like second order polynomials, and at the deflection point, the deflection value of y equals y is 0 at each fixed point. The well-known equation, Euler-Gerlach equation explains that the moment is related, the second derivative of the beam profile is related with the moment functions and bi. At this time, E means the Young modulus of the beam. Young modulus of the beam, and I means the second moment inertia of the beam. By integrating parts of the equation, we can get a profile of the y-axis. And the final result is the y-axis is determined by the W0 and yeah, and also the for the function. By simply substitute some numbers, you can get a profile of the like this or like figure. But this figure shows that at the center, due to the field force too large deformation is occurred. Therefore, we can conclude that the simply supporting model is not proper, and the field force is applied to the submerged floating tunnel. Therefore, simply more supporting models can be changed to another new model. So the next step is introducing a new model, not simply supporting model. We think that the additional technical is needed, so we suggest that two cables are attached to the beam, and the end of the cable is attached to the end of the cable is fixed end of the cable is fixed on ground. As you can see, when there is no fluid force, there is gravitation force and buoyancy force and rotation force. If the configuration of the beam is symmetric, the magnitude of the rotation forces are same and direction is also applied. Therefore, beam will be in a static equilibrium state. However, if the fluid is not still fluid, so the friction velocity decreases. The fluid force effect is felt on the beam, and as you can see, location of the center of the mesh, the center of the beam will be moved like this, G to the G stop, and the DG and DY of the beam. However, the cable is exist and the beam can resist the fluid force, and the beam's rotations will completely the original position. This does not function. If the cable is 10 additional tension based on the equal profile, or if we select the proper maintenance of the cables, so we assume that the physical models that the transportation force and fluid force and buoyancy force and gravitation force, it can be equivalent models that the spring force is applied to the beam model. Although the internal force is added to the beam is the same as the water tunnel, the reaction force that the vertical reaction force can be applied to the spring KY, and the horizontal reaction force can be applied to the beam and maybe we assumed that all the fluid force is exposed on our water tunnels shape will be maintained straight and more robust for the fluid force environment. To verify this, our hypothesis, we will conduct a simple experiment and compare the result and our model. This is our future plan. We think that for final presentation, the main test is composed of 3 components. The first one is review of modeling and experiment design. That I will be doing this, and the second one is conducting experiment and extraction of raw data, and I will do it for 2 weeks. And finally, post processing of the data and analysis needed and next week. This is end of our presentations, and thank you for listening.
Question? Because we don't have enough time, so we may continue to